So like that's.
You guys ready?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, I'm Max. This is Jenny. This is James. We're all Golly.
I'm Jenny and I play keyboard and I do vocals.
Hi, I'm Max. I play guitar and do vocals.
Hi, I'm James. I play the bass and do Ableton programming. I guess. I don't know. What should I say I do?
Percussion.
Percussion?
Drum machine.
Sounds.
Drum sounds.
Drum sounds.
Beats.
Like
Drop the beats.
Ableton. Drums. Yeah. Drums.
A little debate on what he does. It's like, wait, what do you do here?
This is.
How did you guys first become a band? How did the friendships and collaboration begin?
I don't know. I feel like we flubbed this question last time. I think that we started playing music. Well, I guess the first collaboration was in college. I was gonna play a show, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to play a show in a basement?" And the exact same thing happened that we do now, which is like you ran to your computer, made drums, and then we played a one-off, and then like a year and a half later, I was still like doing like quiety, folky, acousticy stuff, and then it slowly formulated with these two people.
Yeah, we all went to Pratt Institute. We went to Pratt Institute and studied art. And yeah, post graduation, started focusing a lot on music.
Yeah, I feel like the Pratt area is like hyper creative, you know, like there's a lot of like young professionals and just artists in general. How do you guys like living in this area?
Well, I don't live around here. I mean, I live in Brooklyn, but like not in Crown Heights.
Where do you live?
I live in Bushwick.
Nice. Well, Bushwick has definitely blossomed over like the last
for sure.
6-7 years.
Yeah, I like it there. I like it there a lot. But I also like Crown Heights. Yeah, I feel like this place is also blossoming.
Well, I think that like it's always nice, like coming from Pratt, it's always nice having that network of people that you know from the get-go, because like it could be like I feel like there's always like a creative community, stuff like that, but it's still like a lot of people in their apartments, and like for me, I know like I'm not a very like social butterfly type person, so it was great to have that group of people that you were forced to be with together, because then it's like, oh, I can call like, I know this person like sings and this person plays bass and this person does keys and stuff like that, so like you have that Rolodex, but otherwise like I really like living here and like having friends that.
I feel like we treat our band like we would treat our art practice, where our apartment's almost like our studio, and we're constantly like tinkering with things. And so like Max and I are both photographers, and our other roommates are also photographers and videographers, so we're always like working on jobs or setting up photo shoots in our bedrooms, and then like pulling out amps and making crazy noises, and it feels like we're in school still. It's fun.
Yeah.
Always like tinkering.
I also think like as a function of that, that's a lot of the thing that the ways we approach the music involves that being in those other fields. So like I think that we have like a light setup that's all this program lighting, and it's like we definitely like set up like we're like assisting on a shoot or something like that. So it's like I think that benefits us tremendously, because we're just like bup, where it's like a lot of times I think you don't get that sense of like purpose when people like even in the like not as important aspect of setting up. I think it has an effect on how people see your music and how presentable you are. So
yeah, and I think the way we approach making the songs is reflective of our art practice too, because Max and I do a lot of photo retouching, and Jenny does a lot of work in illustration on the computer, and a lot of the music is like kind of going back to the computer and resampling things or changing textures. And at least I feel like with the band we're more focused on like creating feelings and moods versus like riffs. It was like there's a huge focus on like what's the content of your work and what's your intention, and I feel like with the band we're a lot really try and focus like why we're making the songs and what the lyrics are saying.
Yeah, I feel like we put a lot of focus on that. Like everything is like thought out. Like if there's not a purpose to an action that we're making or sound that we're making, we think about it and we talk about it. And if there's no purpose to it, we get rid of it or something. I don't know.
I think that's definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of like a constant collaboration.
Yeah.
And you guys sound like a pretty diplomatic, you know? I know with a lot of bands there can be designated roles and stuff, but it's always great when you have like a little tight-knit group where you guys can kind of vote and tally things up like that.
Yeah, and I feel like we also disagree too, but we're not afraid to disagree, and we'll debate the crap out of stuff.
What drives us forward is just like this boiling hatred that's just barely under the surface.
You guys should make your own TV show, like a very Arrested Development kind of.
I can see that, like
The
sitcom.
Office or something.
We could definitely do that. I think that would actually fit really well. And we've talked about like previously at some point staging intentional rifts between the band, like for the performative elements, like having something in one of our sets where it's like there's like a breakdown and there's like an argument, but it's all canned basically. So it's like I think that like there is like it's like that collaborative process has disagreements, but we all I think address that as like a positive thing, and that like if people didn't disagree, then you'd probably be making less interesting material.
Well, I think with like a lot of like progress that like bands strive for, sometimes when you look back, like the darkest time or like the biggest challenges you face, like for instance, people come and go in bands or whatever, you get kicked out of your rehearsal room because the building shut down. Gets shut down. Excuse me. Is there something that comes to mind that you guys feel like kind of brought you to higher ground? Any kind of challenges?
I think at one point when we were first starting out, there was a lot of other people involved, and we were trying out like having like a trumpet and like more of like a full band and having live drums, and I think we really just scaled everything down and made it more of like this tight-knit group. So,
and I also think that we scaled everything down, and at the same time we've added a lot of like other not extraneous but extra things for our performance, and I think we were scaling it down again now. Like previously I had like a wireless headset, and it was all about having kind of like this vibe of kind of almost like a motivational speaker or something like that, and I think we're scaling that down again, but it's like I think that without having a little bit too much fat on the cut, like by cutting it down, like you just have like much better product in the long run. So I think like the drummer situation helped us make our sound what it is now, and then like cutting down some of the things we're doing now is helping us go to like the next level. So I think like just
Also, my truck only has 3 seats in it.
yeah.
So if we're gonna drive to shows, like
Very
we can't add
practical.
anyone else unless they have a car. So
Also touring.
Yeah.
What are you guys kind of doing right now in terms of like shows and recordings?
the plan right now is we're gonna start a new set of recordings this week.
It's exciting.
And we're gonna our first recording, we basically rented a studio for 2 days and like recorded everything really quick, and then we hired someone to mix it, and I feel like it was a really good experience to learn about like just how to even record in general and things to listen for, and things that we'd like to do different the second time. And this time we're gonna sort of do it just sort of over a course of a couple of weeks more casually, and then mix it ourselves. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like not rushing through it is going to be really good. And also, before we had all the songs totally planned out, and this time we're going to go into recording it not, like I don't know one of the songs. So, like we're sort of winging. I feel like we talked about earlier how like we're so thought out with everything. So I feel like for this recording we want to kind of do an exercise where we're not prepared and see what comes in the moment a little more. Because it's kind of hard just because everything, the drums are like programmed. Like I sit down for a day and like make the drums. But I feel like it could be cooler to like record a riff in the studio and then like hit an electronic drum pad and then make the beat on the spot. I think
We don't do riffs. You said it. You said we don't do riffs.
don't
We
do
can't.
riffs, but
We can't look like hypocrites here. But
but yeah, I guess we're just sort of focusing on this new recording, and we have a couple shows. We have Meltfest next month and a show at the Gateway.
we also had a round robin recently, and it's something I think we're gonna try as a band in the future. Is we set up like a 4-band round robin with a performance element where it's like each band like pressed a button which set an installation that then determined randomly which band would play next. So there's just this element where like the whole night it wasn't people coming to see their like kind of their band and then leaving. It was like this thing where the audience and the band members had to kind of run around the space and interact in a new way. So we're hoping in general to, with that and with things in the future, develop more performances that are kind of not in traditional performance spaces and not in traditional contexts, because we think that is more rewarding for the audience overall.
Yeah, I think that's like a huge part of like the Brooklyn music scene too. There tends to be a big like cross section of like art mediums coming together and doing these things at the same time, and it makes it definitely like more of an experience for the audience, you know, and that's what it should be like, encouraging like people to come out and experience something they wouldn't necessarily find, you know, if they just walked into a bar. And
Definitely.
it's great that you guys are a part of that. Is there like certain venues that you really, really love? Like what are your top like local venues that you guys that have a special place in your heart?
I would say probably Aviv.
Aviv.
It's like
Aviv's-
one of them.
Yeah, like independent of us playing, like I just shot Aviv yesterday. I take music photographs, and I am there very, very often, and it's run by a lot of our peers and like some people from Pratt as well, SVA and stuff like that, and overall it's just like I think a very exciting space overall, and they're the ones that we had the round robin at, and I think they're open towards pushing things where
It seems like they have like art experiences there. Like they don't just do shows; they do, I don't know, like put on plays, and they're very open. Oh, I also did a mural there, so that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Jenny did a huge mural on a wall, and we helped her paint it there. And
Yeah.
it was all fun.
Yeah.
And I think otherwise, like the Gateway's been very nice to us, and we're excited about the future of that space.
Yeah, they've been super nice.
Otherwise, like the class, like you know, like we haven't played there yet, but like I've always enjoyed my experience at Palisades, Shea Stadium. I've been going to since I was this big. Since I was just
Baby.
yeah, I was yeah.
It'll look bigger on camera.
Since I was.
It'll look like
I need to be accurate, or else people are gonna be like, he wasn't going there when he was like 6 months, like he was 9 months, like.
we'll just CGI arrows and
Exactly. I want the GIF of the baby dancing from like the 90s. That's gonna go.
I'll see what I can do.
Let's get some After Effects coverage.
Yeah, there's so many talented bands. It's like I feel like it's like unique to New York sometimes, because like you go to other places, there's like certain genres that stand out.
Yeah.
But New York is like such a weird melting pot of sounds, you know, like every band has like a big mash of like different things like put together.
Yeah, and there's that willingness, I think, also to. There's such a variety, and there's so many shows happening that you can kind of make sure you go to every show that has like a diverse lineup that's not kind of like butt rock. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with like an all butt rock set, but it's just like you know, you can always see so many options and like be like, this has variety and this has like content, and this has like these artists have a genuine interest in performing.
What kind of feelings do you think people feel when they hear your music?
I feel like it's probably an emotional roller coaster. Honestly, I feel like there are some songs where there's just like very minimal drums and just kind of sad
And it-
lyrics or something,
yeah,
where we're
like-
just like talking to each other.
We played acoustic the other night.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people said they cried like during our songs
Yeah.
because they said they were so sad.
I guess they start off as like very emotional, like there's emotional stuff behind the songs, and then like we kind of just like add all this stuff, and then it becomes something entirely different, and it probably like, so having the acoustic show, having it like stripped down was cool.
Yes. I think maybe when we're playing louder music, we make points of tension, and then
Yeah.
maybe those finally at the end there's like some sort of release. So
Catharsis, yeah.
but I'm not sure what other people are feeling during it. I feel like I'm concentrating so hard on playing my bass.
Yeah.
That usually after a show I just immediately like bolt to the door and like sit by myself for a half hour to like regain consciousness.
Yeah, but I think like a sense of like catharsis is probably a good.
Coming from like a singer-songwriter place, like I think that the lyrics like deal with like ineffective communication and like interpersonal relationships and mortality and like and illness and like all the things that I think are kind of universal anxieties, and I think that it's kind of a selfish act to kind of like express that, but I think that ultimately we're trying to push it to a place where it's like creating this zone where everyone can maybe identify lyrically with like these universal crises or anxieties, and then like through our performance, through things we say in between, create a space where people can be like, oh, I'm in this space with other people feeling these very similar things. Where do we go from here? So,
like, I feel like for this band, like, touring isn't like a top priority. I think we're more invested in just like making music together and like working together on the songs. So I feel like 100 miles per hour might be like booking more shows ourselves at spaces where we can really curate what's going on and have a more interactive dialogue with the audience and with the other bands involved. And I think like the round robin at Aviv is like the first step towards that. And I would like I feel like I think it'd be really cool if we had like once a month we had like a show that always happened that was like the Golly showcase, and we could really like push performative elements and make it like this crazy experience, super fun show.
definitely.
But I feel like in terms of our sound and playing music, I feel like we're like in a really good spot. So I don't see like us buying like 20 half stacks and playing super loud on a spaceship.
On a spaceship.
Maybe like yeah.
I think like definitely elements of that where we could have like an ideal space I think would be able to curate an experience with like several other acts that like people just trust that they can go to that night and like have a very like genuine and nice like time. Not like nice as like everyone's happy, but just like have a good time in the end. And I think like 100 miles per hour, like it's great. Like I feel like we've been building like every show, like the most important part is like the one person. Like when we toured up in like Massachusetts, and like the most genuine like great experiences, or like in New Brunswick, New Jersey, was like the like 2 high schoolers that are like, I really like your music, like talk about like, or like people like we have a pamphlet that goes with our work that like says a whole bunch of like general statements. And like people coming in and questioning those statements, like about like production of art or community or things like that. So like I feel like in 100 miles per hour, it's just having a lot more people involved in the conversation.
I love it when you make things harder.
Obey, now let's be partners.
And I could see your garden.
Let you into my apartments.
Hey babe, you know we're in the thick of it.
Hey babe, you know that this is bullshit.
Let's rehearse. We're chewing on